Welcome to Riding Along. Today's episode is about turning your insane dream into a story. Nah, I don't mean insane, like you're out of your mind, but sometimes dreams are, I don't mean your aspirations, but maybe it is too, it could be. Maybe your aspirations came from a dream. But sometimes, in sleep, if you do dream, and if you don't, you might even daydream. Keep a lookout for that. If you don't normally dream, you might be daydreaming mostly, and that's why when you sleep, I'm not saying I know the science of it, okay, but that's why you might not really experience them as much when you're sleeping. But when you do, experience them, you encounter these jumbled up worlds. Your perceptions are distorted, things become enhanced, things become minimized. It's like you are existing within a formless, but it's this formless place, but it's not a void because there are entities, there are interactions, there's a sense of danger, there's a sense of hope, there's an element of scarcity, of time. There's all these things that are just being bent and warped, and that's what your mind is doing when it puts its senses to rest, when it puts sight, hearing, all that stuff. It's like they're all taking a break, and when you close your eyes, they're all having conversations with each other. They're all meeting together and more than just your five senses. There are more than five senses. There's just not an easy way to categorize them all. But those five are easy to categorize. What do they taste? Same with taste, touch, hearing. Feeling? It's touch, seeing. There's another. What's the one I'm missing? Let me know in the comments. I'm missing one, obviously. The point is, beyond that, there are other things that are really part of your normal sensory entourage. Something like gravity. You're aware of its pull on you, but it's not one of the five that we normally talk about. But in your dreams, all of those things together get mixed in. It's more than we can even talk about. It's like a symposium. It's like this coliseum of you that's just discussing things and coming up with interesting stories. I am amazed quite often by the things I dream about, and you might be too. You probably had this crazy dream. You've had plenty, but you've had this one that sticks out to you. And in your life right now, at least, there might be another one down the line that sticks out to you even more. But this one here, this insane dream, is just, it's begging to be told and to be put into a story. And it's not difficult. What it does require you to do, though, is realize that with your dream, there are a lot of elements to it that are way more vivid to you than they are to other people. Meaning, you might be telling someone about it, and you're having a conversation, and you're going off about it, and you might catch their attention at first with what you say, but the way you say it will be a huge tell of whether they follow along or care, because they're like, well, it's not real. It's just your dream. Why would I be interested in that? The thing is, you're inspired by it. You can talk about it all day until it loses its sense of cohesiveness and it falls apart in your brain's short-term memory and disappears forever. Write them down, and especially if it stays in your long-term memory after it's happened, like years after it's happened, months, days, weeks. You want to turn that into a story. It'll be probably one of the most amazing ones you might ever write. The best ones you ever come up with will usually come from dreams. Again, whether they're ones when you're sleeping or whether you're ones when you experience during the day, you do experience them because your senses do need time to rest. And what they look like is important. What happens in them is important. But guess what? You have to implement the element of time and pacing yourself, because it's not present in your dream in a consistent way with how we're normally living, with how there's minute 1 of this video and minute 10 of this video. Minute 10 can be put before minute 1, before minute 0, before the video starts. You see, it's like a crazy, just wacky world that your dream is in. And it makes sense to you because it's your brain, and it's familiar. You're like, yeah, I was there. I know, I saw it. But other people did it. They weren't there either. So it's not very hard to do that, though. Just take heed of that. And what you want to do is create elements and create markers of this happened, this happened, this happened, and it happened in this way, in this path, and give a point to it, give a sense of direction. Your dream might not have had a point. And I'm not saying go to a dream interpreter or something like that. You could if you want. There are people who are very, very good at extrapolating meanings from dreams, versus some people, they're just lost. They're like, what the hell was that? Why did I, what was that? And they don't know how to bring a sense of meaning to it. And that's okay. You can find someone who is just great at that and hear what they have to say about it. Now, it doesn't mean that's the exact meaning, all right? Analytical approach to it isn't the only way to look at it. You don't have to follow the works of Freud and Carl Jung. Like, their dream interpretations are the only way to go. No, you try exploring them for yourself too. That's a lot of fun. It doesn't feel like work. You kind of think about, what did that dream mean, and give yourself the freedom to come up with a meaning that might not even make sense. It doesn't have to be deep. It could be like, oh well, I was worried about having a flat tire, so because of that, this, or like, if you really want, if you don't have any inspiration, just look some up on Google or online or in a book, already on dreams and stuff like that. But don't take it as the gospel of what you're reading, because it's an interpretation. You can develop your own, ascribe your own. That's where a lot of the fun comes from. It doesn't feel like work. It just feels like something you enjoy when you create meaning from your own dreams, when you create a purpose from them for yourself. And the pressure is off because there's no consequence to it. There's no getting it right. There is no right to it. It's just what you choose as the meaning for it. And when you do that, you've got your story. You've got your story made because you've done the work, even though it didn't feel like it. Because all it was getting a point. What's the point? When you ever have a conversation with somebody, like, yeah, what's the point? You might have been that person. And it's normal. You want to know what it is. And the point is, when writing a story, have one. Even if it's not largely significantly, like it doesn't seem like this groundbreaking thing. Even if it's just telling something very obvious, that's a point that counts. But you got to have one when you're telling about a dream. And you got to realize it doesn't come on its own. You got to provide that. Otherwise, you're going to be talking about your dream and people aren't going to care. And guess what? Half of that process is actually done for you. It's the beginning. It's done automatically once you start telling it. Cool, you have your beginning. And the elements will actually bring themselves forth on their own. It won't matter what order the stuff in between is, because somehow the brain will interlink them. The reader will find a way to connect them. Your readers are very smart. You're very smart. And when you reach the end, just having an ending is what will create a sense of time continuity. It's what will create that familiarity that you need if you want to convey and really talk about your dreams in a way that people will understand and care about reading. You might tell a story that was a dream, and by the time you're you're finished with it, no one will even be the wiser that it was one. They might think you just came up with it on the spot, But the fact is, listen to them. Don't just forget about them. Write them down, but pay attention to the ones that you remember, even without trying. Those are really the ones that carried with them some weight, that carried with them something that is really, really timeless, because it escaped your short-term memory. It broke free of that. It was getting ready to die. It was going to go in the drain of things that get forgotten, of dreams deferred, right? And it made its way through. It made its way past. That is profound. It's much like the process of life itself. There are millions of, you can say competitors if you want, in the conception, and it could have just as easily not been you, but it was you that made it. And because of that, you were part of the beauty and birth and process of life. But what are the odds that you are here as opposed to any of those other millions? And it's the same with your dreams, those ones that remain, that actually live on in your mind. You go, wow, I've had so many. I've had ones I don't even remember remembering ever, like it that deep. But I know about this one. This one won't go away. In fact, it's still alive. It's still growing. I develop. It's thinking. I think about it every single day, or not every. It doesn't have to be every day, but it's alive. It's the same process. It's almost like life is presenting something to you that is so. It's so obvious. It's before you. It's how we reproduce as a species, and yet your dreams are the exact same things. Of all of these ones that you have, there are some that actually live. There are some that move, that like go through the process of birth and into your mind. It's the same exact um, way. It's the same path. And the fact is, these dreams, while they are alive right now, you might be thinking of some right now that you've had. And again, not all dreams are when you sleep. Your senses do rest. There are certain imaginary worlds, like imaginative worlds and concepts that do come to your mind if you pay attention to them when your senses rest. And it's crazy that they can rest when you're awake, but they do. Pay attention to those ones that are alive right now and give them life onto the page, because otherwise they will die. They require you to acknowledge them. And through writing, you solidify their existence. You give them what they need, and then they can live on and sprout their own. It's crazy to say they can sprout their own legs and their own life and their own force, their own will, and exist into the world. You're creating. You're part of this process of life through your dreams, through your insane dream. So give your dreams life through writing. Write about them, and all you have to do is give them a point. Take that effort, and take that into your own hands. And it's not hard, but extrapolate some kind of meaning from it. Find some kind of meaning in it. It doesn't have to be the deepest thing ever. And even if you don't think you're great at getting meanings from dreams, maybe you are actually. But if you're not, don't even worry about that either. Give it something, and once you have that, you have a point. You got your point to your story, and that's all you need to really finish it and give it life. It's almost like what either a dream is. All it needed was that point, and you gave it that, and because of that, this amazing process can continue, and you're going to give it life by writing it. I'm mind blown by how interconnected it is, but that's how it feels. That's how it goes, and that's how you can convey your dreams effectively. The rest, everything in between, you created the sense of continuity. You created the sense of time, the familiarity, everything that's going to give it everything it needs, the life, the sustenance, everything it needs to continue on its own. Simply by doing that, by giving it what it needed, and allowing it to live in people's minds, in your mind. If you're interested in writing a book, more than just one story, but a book in 30 days, check out this guide. You can write a whole book on a dream. You can write a whole book on half of a dream. You could break it into a series if you want, but this is your guide on how to write a book in 30 days. Find it on my website, writingalong.com, and grab your free copy. Thanks for stopping by today. I'll see you around.